Hello boys, welcome to another session of video tutorials. In this session we are going to open up a new chapter which is very latest and very concerned to all of us, and that is chapter number 14, ecosystem. And as you know, this is meant for class 12th biology boys, and this video is meant for 29th June 2020. So in our previous session and previous chapter, we talked about how organisms will adapt to environment and increase their numbers, having the reproductive ability. After increasing the numbers, how do they interact with each other? So we talked about various population interactions. Now to happen all this, there must be an environment, and that environment is ecosystem. Now how do we define? It is a functional unit of nature where interactions of living organisms with themselves, as we have seen in our previous chapter, and with the physical environment. So there are two things in which interaction is taking place. One is among the organisms there is interaction within a given habitat, and organisms versus physical environment. So two interactions. If these two interactions comply and there's a life, and the area in which the life is flourishing with interactions between the organisms and organisms with the physical environment, then we say that place is an ecosystem. We can say a garden is an ecosystem, okay? A river is an ecosystem, a lake is an ecosystem. For example, if you take a lake, why do you consider lake as an ecosystem? There is a interaction of living organisms within that lake. So fishes, prawns, frogs, water insects, there is interaction among them. Plus they are also interacting with water, density of the water, viscosity of the water, mineral content of the water, light, heat, temperature. So when they interact with themselves and interacting with the physical environment, lake becomes a flourishing one, and that flourishing habitat is an ecosystem. And this term ecosystem was coined by a scientist called A.G.Tansley. Remember this for your UPSC exam. The term ecosystem was coined by A.G.Tansley. And there are two types of ecosystems. One is artificial ecosystem or man-made ecosystem. You have seen in our biology lab, aquarium, fish aquarium. That's man-made, we made it. And a crop field. Whereas natural ecosystem is the ecosystem that has been taking place in a natural way. So there are varieties of natural ecosystems. Terrestrial ecosystems like forest, grassland, desert. Terrestrial means land. Aquatic is ecosystem like freshwater, saltwater ecosystem, like just now I said, a river, lake, pond, and sea and ocean. And then freshwater ecosystem is lentic, ponds, lakes and rivers, streams. And saltwater ecosystem is marine. It's basically wetlands, estuaries, seas, oceans, like this. So every ecosystem has got two components. What are the two components? One is the structure. What is the structure of an ecosystem? What is it made up of? And the second one is function. So when we talk of the structure of the ecosystem, it is the interaction of biotic and abiotic components resulting in physical structures. So when there is an interaction between biotic and abiotic, the structure gets built up, okay? And this structure consists of certain things. What are those? Species composition. Maximum species composition occur in tropical rainforest and coral reefs. So what are all the species that make the ecosystem? Like if you recollect from your memory, we can broadly say the producers and the consumers. Those will be the species. And again, in consumers, we have got varieties which we talk of, like herbivores, carnivores, omnivores, decomposers, detritus, all this. And second one is stratification. This is a vertical distribution. As you are seeing, it is a vertical distribution of different species occupying different levels in an ecosystem. So it is the formation of vertical layers when vegetation is in full swing. As you are seeing in the picture, you can see herbs at the bottom on the ground level, then comes shrubs, then small trees, short sized trees, then you can see dense canopy, and then tall and emerging trees, very tall trees. So the stratification goes in this fashion, from low to high. So you got a grass at the bottom, you got herbs, shrubs, top trees. This is stratification. So third one is trophic structure. Every ecosystem has specific food chains. What is a food chain? It is a straightened 180-degree chain in which one species depends on another species for its food. That is food chain. That's why the name food chain. So in trophic structure, there will be many food chains and food webs. If we interconnect many food webs, we get what is called food web. We'll talk in the next session about this. And then standing crab. It is the amount of living biomass. How much biomass is present in that ecosystem. That makes a standing crab. We can measure it in terms of quintals, tons, like this. And then standing state. It is the amount of inorganic nutrients present any time in the soil. How much of inorganic material is present in the soil or water if it is an aquatic one. That's called standing state. It tends to vary from season to season, of course, and ecosystem to ecosystem. So, the structure of the ecosystem consists of 5 things. 1. Species composition. 2. As I have shown you here, stratification. And 3rd, trophic structure. 4th, standing crab. 5th, standing state. Now, what about the functions? The functions of ecosystem consists of 4 important factors. 1. The first one is called productivity, and the second one is called decomposition, and third one is energy flow, and fourth one nutrient cycling. I will repeat. The functions of the ecosystem. 4 important functional aspects of an ecosystem are productivity. What is the amount of product that is formed? Second, decomposition. How much is being wasted or decomposed? And then energy flow. What is the net energy that is flowing at a given time in an ecosystem and in each organism? And then nutrient cycling. How the nutrients that are present in the soil are getting recycled again and again through various species and coming back to soil. So in this productivity, first one, productivity refers to rate of biomass production. Okay, the rate of biomass production. As you are seeing here, productivity is the rate of biomass production. Rate at which sunlight is captured by producers for the synthesis of energy-rich organic compounds. You know photosynthesis. CO2 plus H2O. In the presence of chlorophyll, the sunlight, they form starch. So that is the product. How much of starch is formed? And it has got following types. What is that? Primary productivity. So we can say, what is primary productivity? It is the amount of biomass produced per unit area in a given time period by plants during photosynthesis. So that is the definition of primary productivity. So it is the amount of biomass produced per unit area. So we are dividing that ecosystem into units. So per unit area, how much biomass is produced, and time, in a given time, how much. And the process, of course, photosynthesis. and GPP, gross primary productivity. It is the rate of production of organic matter during photosynthesis. How much organic matter is produced during photosynthesis. NPP, net primary productivity. That is net primary productivity, NPP. Overall, what is the net that is formed? That means something is spent. What is that something is spent? Or respiration loss. So how do you get NPP? It is the gross primary product. You have to substitute respiration loss because it's a loss. So GPP minus R becomes NPP. So GPP cannot be equal to NPP because there is a considerable amount of loss is there in the form of respiration. Hence GPP cannot be NPP in any ecosystem. And then secondary productivity. It is the rate of formation of new organic matter by consumers in a given period of time. So how much rate of assimilation of the food has taken place, and it is the amount of energy available at the consumer level for transfer to next trophic level. This is secondary productivity. Next we come to the second factor of function, that is decomposition. What is decomposition? It is the process of breaking down dead organic matter into smaller organic or inorganic molecules by bacteria and fungi. That's why we call bacteria and fungi as decomposers. And detritus, what is detritus? Here the dead animals, dead plants, animal fecals, everything will be decomposed, and that we call it detritus. And the animals, that is earthworms, termites, snails, which are doing this function, they are called detritivores, animals that feed on decaying organic matter, that is detritus, detritivores. So you must remember here the examples for detritivore, because you are tempted to write bacteria, virus, all that. No, it's not bacteria, virus, it is earthworm, termite, snails, etc. These are detritivores. And whenever the dead and decay matter has to be decomposed, there are steps. 5 steps are there, you must remember. Fragmentation of detritus, first step. Second, leaching. Third, catabolism. Fourth, humification. Fifth, mineralization. So here, what is this first step? Fragmentation of detritus. Fragmentation, breaking into small pieces. It is the process of breaking down detritus into smaller parts. It is done by, just now we said, earthworms. Okay. Leaching. Soluble inorganic nutrients dissolve in water and goes down to soil. It percolates into the soil, inorganic nutrients, and get precipitated. That is called leaching. So leaching always is good during decomposition. And catabolism. Cat means again break. Decomposers like bacteria and fungi. Now I want you to differentiate between decomposers and detritivores. Don't get confused. Decomposers are bacteria and fungi. Detritivores are, just now I said, earthworms, snails, all that. So decomposers release enzymes to decompose detritus into simple inorganic compounds. That's why, since it is breaking the organic into inorganic, we say catabolism. Humification, formation of humus, most important one. In any ecosystem, humus must be present. Without humus, soil is not fertile. So simplified detritus converted to humus. Humus is a dark amorphous substance, highly resistant to microbial action, undergoes decomposition very slowly. It is a reservoir of nutrients. That is the most important one. That's why humus must be there in the soil. Reservoir of nutrients. And mineralization, last one. That is, humus is further degraded by some microbes to release inorganic nutrients that occurs by the process of mineralization. As the name suggests, formation of minerals. Humus is degraded to release inorganic substances like CO2, H2O and nutrients Ca2+, Mg2+, K+. So these are the 5 steps of decomposition. And in our next session, we'll talk about other 2 functions of ecosystem, energy flow and nutrient cycling. Until then,